Elementary Chinese Reader 3. Let us read Lesson 47, Part 3. Exercises. 用带够的句子回答下列问题. Answer the below mentioned questions using 够 sentence or enough sentence. 够 means sufficient or enough. Let us read the sentences. 这些面包我们两个人吃怎么样? How about these breads for us two people? So the answer would be like, these bread are enough for two of us. 前边的路马车过得去吗? Can the horse carriage pass through the front road? So answer would be like the front road is sufficiently wide for the horse cart to pass through. Moving on to the next question. 这块地种是可树种的下吗? Can 10 trees be planted on this land? So answer would be something like, this land is sufficient or enough for 10 trees to be planted. Moving on to the fourth question. 你有没有时间能不能帮我改一改这些句子? Do you have time? Can you help me build these sentences? So the answer of this question could be like, I don't have enough time to help you build these sentences, or I have sufficient time to help you build these sentences. 你买的这些本子能用多长时间? These notebooks that you bought, how long, for what time they would be sufficient, or for how long they can be used? So answer to this question could be like, the notebooks that I have bought are sufficient for half a year, 1 year, or summer vacations. 这块布能做什么呢? Here 布 is for cloth. This cloth 能 can 做 to do 什么呢? What can this cloth be used for? So we can answer this like, this cloth can be used as a shirt or a trouser. Moving on to the second exercise. 用到底完成句子. So we have to complete or fill in the blanks, fill in the sentences using 到底. 到底 means after all or finally. Let us read the exercises. Read the first one. 这个成语故事 blank 要不要再听一遍? So this idiomatic story 这个成语故事 and a blank 要不要 can or cannot 再听 listen to again 一遍 once again. So this sentence could be like, after all, what does this idiomatic story means? Can we listen to it once again? 他的提议 is proposal, his proposal, and a blank 快说说你的意见. Quickly speak your opinion. 意见 opinion. His proposal. So this sentence can be made something like, after all, what does his proposal could mean? Quickly tell me your opinion. 这张画 blank 我们看了 we read or saw 半天也没看出来. So this picture we saw for a long time but could not figure it out. 半天也没看出来, or were not able to understand. So this could be like, this picture, after all or finally, what does it mean? We looked at it for a long time but could not understand. Moving on to the fourth sentence. 有光想把家门口的两座山搬走，可是 blank 他的妻子深深不大. Yukong wanted to remove the mountains in front of his house. Hersher, but there is a blank. His wife did not had confidence. So we can say that Yukong wanted to move mountains in front of his house, but after all, where to throw the stones of the mountain? 我很想看的那本书 I very much wanted to read that book, and there is a blank. So we can say I very much want to read that book. After all, what are its contents? Contents is 내용. So we can make a sentence like this. Moving on to the last exercise of this second question. 昨天那场球赛 yesterday in that match, in that ball game, 开始我们输了一个球. 开始 at the starting, 我们输了 we lost 一个球 a ball, or we incurred a goal. Yesterday in that match, at the beginning we lost a goal or we lost a point. 后来 later, there is a blank, so we can say later, after all, or finally we won the match. Moving on to the next exercise. 用标识特质的疑问单词改写句子. Rewrite the sentence with a specific interrogative pronoun. Let us take the example. 我们到最漂亮的公园去玩. Let's go to the most beautiful park. 哪个公园最漂亮? 我们就到哪个公园去玩. So the first sentence is we will go to the most beautiful park, and second, which park is most beautiful, we will go to that park. So here the specific interrogative pronoun is na, which. So which park is most beautiful, we will go to that park. Similarly, we have to use specific interrogative pronoun and rewrite the following sentences. Let us read the following sentence. 你能来的时候来吧. Come when you can come. So this sentence can be written as when you can come, that time you come. 我请我的好的人和这张画. I invited or I asked a good painter to draw this picture. This can be written as who is a good painter was asked to draw this picture. Moving on to the next sentence, let us read. 苗种的好的田里以后收的粮食一定多. In the fields where the seedlings grow well, there must be more grain harvested in the future. So we can rewrite this as where there is more grains, more output, there more grains should be harvested in future. 你们把问题都提出来吧. So 你们 you all 问题 question 都提出来了. Ask all the questions you have. This can be written as whatever questions do you have, you can ask. 他准备到工作最困难的地方去. He is prepared to go wherever the job is or work is most difficult. This can be rewritten as where the work is most difficult, he is willing to go there. Moving on to the sixth question, let us read. 你想借2本、3本、4本书都可以. You can borrow 2 books, 3 books or 4 books if you want. This may be written as, may be rewritten as whatever the number of books you want to borrow, you can borrow. Moving on to the next exercise, the fourth exercise. We have to rewrite these sentences using the pattern in the brackets. Let us read the first one. 这个提议很好. This proposal is very good. 大家一定会赞成. This proposal is very good. Everyone certainly will agree. We have to rewrite this sentence in the sentence. Moving on to the second one. 如果你有困难, if you have a trouble, if you have a problem, 你告诉大家. You tell everybody. 大家会帮助你. Everybody will help you. We have to again rewrite this in the pattern. Moving on to the third one. 他非常喜欢你送给他的那件礼物. He liked the gift that you gave him very much. Moving on to the fourth sentence. 那个星期的人希望苗长得快一些，拔苗报告了一点儿，没想到第二天苗都死了. The impatient person hoped that seedling would grow faster, so he raised the seedling a little bit, but he did not expect that the next day the seedling would all be dead. We have to rewrite this sentence using the na chutao pattern, or who knew, who expected. 这壶酒哪儿够4个人喝啊? So that pot of wine is sufficient for 4 people to drink. We have to rewrite this using zamaye, whatever. So whatever was there in the pot was sufficient for 4 peoples to drink. Moving on to the sixth sentence. 第一个画完蛇的人想. The first person who finished drawing the snake thought, 这壶酒一定是他的. This pot of wine is certainly his. 他正在给蛇. So he currently gave the snake. 天骄的时候, adding feet. At the time of adding feet, 第二个人把酒壶抢了狗去. So the second person took it up from him. So at the time when he was adding feet to the picture of snake, the second person took it over from him. We have to rewrite this sentence using the pattern na chutao. Who knew? So the first person who finished drawing thought that this pot of wine belonged to him. Who knew that the second person would snatch it from him at the time he was adding feet to that picture of snake. Moving on to the fifth exercise. Yong chi lai. So using chi lai. Huo chu lai tian kong. So we have to fill in the blank using either chi lai or chu lai. Let us read the sentence. 一个人提议大家都在地上画一条蛇，谁先把蛇画 blank 谁就和那壶球，说完大家就拿起树枝在地上画 another blank 蛇. So one person proposed. Everybody would draw snake on the ground. Whoever finishes drawing first, he will drink that pot of wine. After finishing, everybody took their tree branches, tree twigs, and started drawing snake on the ground. Moving on to the second exercise, let us read. 第一个画完蛇的人，正在给蛇跳，叫的时候，第二个人喊：“我也把蛇画了。”蛇是没有叫的，你画的不是蛇，第一个画完蛇，是我，不是你。 So when the first person completed drawing snake and was adding feet to the snake, at that time the second person shouted, "I also finished drawing snake. Snakes does not have feet, so you have not you are not the first person to draw the snake. So first person is to draw the snake is me and not you. Moving on to the third sentence. 那个姓戚的人希望秒争得快一些. So that impatient person thought or wanted that the seedlings grow a bit faster. 快一些. 一天 one day. 他想 one day he thought 一个办法. So one day he thought there is a blank 一个办法 a method. 就急急忙忙跑到地里 one way and hurrying up in a hurried manner 跑地里 ran to the ground 用手把苗豆拔高了一些 and raised the seedlings with his hand. So one day he thought of a method and raised the seedlings with his hand a bit higher up. Moving on to the fourth sentence. 他讲故事讲得多有意思啊，讲得大家都笑 and blank and 乐. So his storytelling is interesting. It makes everybody laugh. Moving on to the fifth sentence. 有光一家决定办山. Yukong one day thought. Yukong一家决定办山. Yukong's family decided to move the mountain. 第二天他们就一起 on the second day they together gun and there is a blank so they did it together the next day. 有个叫这so the 听说 Yukong 有个叫 so a person named 这 so heard that 听说 Yukong 一家搬山 so he heard that Yukong's family is moving the mountain. 就跑来对 Yukong 说 he came running to Yukong and said 你们想搬山 you want to remove the mountain 真是太可笑了 this is really very ridiculous. This was exercise 5. Moving on to the exercise 6, reading this text, let us read this passage. 汉语的常用非常多 There are a lot of idiom in Chinese. 汉语里到底有多少常用 After all, there are how many idiom in Chinese? 很多人都说不清楚 Many people don't know. Many people don't know how many idioms are there in. After all, how many idioms are there in Chinese? 比较常用的常用是店里就有3000多条 There are only 3000 idioms in the more commonly used idiom dictionaries. 说话或者写文章的时候 while speaking or writing articles 用一些常用意思会变清楚 Use some idioms the meaning would be clear 人们也都喜欢听 People also like to listen 喜欢看 and read People also like to read and listen. 有些常用 some idioms 是从一些历史故事 So some of the idioms are from historical stories. 寓言故事来的 fable stories 还有一些是人们按照语言习惯组成的 and some are formed by people according to language habits 常用的字数不都是一样的但是四个字的最多 Not all idioms have the same number of words, but four characters are most, or four characters are maximum. 我们学过的 we read, we learned 我们学过的画蛇添足，把苗子糊上两条长鱼，是从两个小故事来的。The two idioms we have learned, uh, the painting of a snake and adding feet, and pulling the seedlings to encourage growth. These come from short stories. 可教求见，南辕北辙，也是从历史故事来的。So carving a boat and seeking a sword, and south and moving in the opposite direction. These idioms are also from historical stories. 是这样的常有故事还有很多 idioms and stories like this. There are many more. 上图书馆或者书店就能借到或者买到常有故事书。You can borrow or buy idiom story books from libraries or bookshops. 还有一些常用 Also, there are some idioms 像人山人海 people mountain, people sea. There are so many people, which means there are a sea of people. 是按照色的意思组成的 These are formed according to the meaning of the word. 这条常有的意思是说，在一起的人非常非常多。So this idiom means that there are a lot of people together. 例如 for example, 国庆节那天公园里人山人海，大家都高高兴兴的庆祝节日。So on the National Day, the park was full of people and everybody was happy to celebrate the festival. So there were a lot of people, but we have not written there were a lot of people. We have used an idiom. 人山人海 People were flowing like river, a sea of people. 现在我们学的课文还不多，掌握的常识也比较少。So far we have read limited text. 课文还不多, so we have not read many text and mastered new words comparatively less. 以后我们学多了，掌握的词多了。In the future, we will learn more and master more words. 将会遇到更多的常用把学过的常用、遇到的常用记在本子上。有功夫的时候拿出来看一看、读一读，是很有意思的。So write down the idioms we have learned and the idioms we encounter in the notebook when you have time. Take a look and read it. It is very interesting. This was Elementary Chinese Reader 3, Lesson 47, Part 3, Exercise.